Hi class, in this video I'm going to be talking about how to solve for decimal operations when we apply order of operations to it. So for this question here, we must apply order of operations in order to solve it. So for order of operations, we follow a rule called BEDMAS. So we want to solve these starting with brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, then addition and subtraction. So we want to first scan this question and solve for anything inside brackets. Right now we don't have any brackets here, so we move on to our next step and look for exponents. We don't see any exponents here, so now we move on to our third step and look for division and multiplication. So for division and multiplication, it doesn't matter if you compute division first or multiplication. They both have the same third order. So what you want to do is you want to start from the left side and go from left to right. If you see multiplication first, you compute multiplication. If you see division first, you compute division. So going from left to right, it looks like 1.6 times 4.3. So multiplication comes first. Then I have 4.3 divided by 0.4. So division comes second. So because of this, even though division is technically on top here above multiplication, because they're both have the third order, I just go from left to right. And since multiplication came first, I'm going to compute multiplication now. So now I have to compute 1.6 times 4.3. So I'm going to do this as an aside. Okay, so I'll just draw a little line here. I have 1.6 times 4.3, so 1.6 times 4.3. Recall the rules for this would be, if I multiply these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the decimal over until I get whole numbers. So in this case, I'm now going to get 16 times 43. Now I'm just going to compute that. So 3 times 6 is 18. So I got an 8 here and a 1 here. 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 1 here, that's 48. Now I'm going to add a place value holder. 4 times 6 is 24, so I got a 4 here and a 2 here. And 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 2 that I'm carrying down, that's going to be a 6. Now I add these together. 8 plus 0 is 8, 4 plus 4 is 8, 6 plus 0 is 6, so now I got 688. Now the rule I have is, because I moved the decimal place once and now twice, 2 times over in total, I'm now going to move the decimal place 2 times back the opposite way. So again, because I moved the decimal place once to the right and then another time to the right, that's twice to the right, I now move the decimal place after I computed my multiplication 2 times back to the left. So my final answer should be 6.88. So that means 1.6 times 4.3 is 6.88. And now I still have a 2.6 plus here, so that doesn't change. So I'm just going to carry that down. 2.6 plus 6.88. I'm still dividing by 0.4, so now I'm going to divide by 0.4. Okay, awesome. Now the next step, I still apply order of operations. So I scan for brackets, no exponents, division, multiplication. There is a division left, so I have to divide before I add. So 6.88 divided by 0.4. Let's do another aside here. So for my aside, in this case here, I have 6.88 divided by 0.4. So the rules for division is I want to move the decimal place over until I get a whole number. So 6.88, I have to move the decimal place over twice to the right in order to let this become a whole number. But for division, the rules are a little different than multiplication. If I move this decimal place over twice, I have to do it automatically for my other number as well. So now, upon doing that, I should get something like this, where I have 688 divided by 40, because I moved it over twice for both of them. So now, for division, I'm going to have 688 divided by 40. Now let's compute the division here. So 40 goes into 6 0 times. So now I have a remainder of 6. Carry down the 8, that's 68. 40 goes into 68 exactly one time, because 40 times 1 is 40. Now I subtract that, I get a remainder of 28. And now carry down the 8, that's 288. Okay, for 288, 40 goes into it 7 times because 40 times 7 is 280. I subtract that, I get a remainder of 8. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a decimal here and then a 0. So recall 688 is the same as 688.0. So I'm just going to let this be 688.0. But if I add a decimal point here, I have to add it up here as well. Now I can carry down this 0 to make this 80. And 40 can go into 80 exactly 2 times, because 40 times 2 is 80. So now 80 minus 80 is 0. So I have a remainder of 0. Once I get a remainder of 0, I can stop. And my answer here is 17.2. So the rules for division are, once you move the decimal place over to make this a whole number for both of these, your final answer would just remain the same as what you got if you divided the whole numbers. You don't have to move the decimal place back anymore. So my answer up here, 6.88 divided by 0.4 is just going to be 17.2. The 2.6 plus still remains. So now I have 2.6 plus 17.2. So now my final step would just be to add these two numbers together. So to add these two numbers together, as an aside again, I'll just do it over here. I'm just going to line up the decimal places. And then I'm just going to add really quickly. I'm going to add some place value holders here. That'll be a 0 here. And now let's add these together. So before I add a decimal place here to line up the decimal place. 6 plus 2 is 8. 2 plus 7 is 9. And 0 plus 1 is 1. So 19.8. So my final answer to this whole question is 19.8.